Hi, 7th and 8th grade families. Joe D'Antonio from Peirce Middle School. How is everyone? We wanted to take a minute to put this video together to help with the launch of the 2020-2021 school year. Certainly, we would all want to be face-to-face and accepting your students in the building on Monday, but right now that just isn't in the cards. So we put a video together to help support your students in Remote 2.0, and as much of this will cross over to the cyber program as well. I have a panel together that I'm going to introduce, who are going to play a key role for your student and play a key role in this presentation. Today, you're going to hear from Dr. Judy Maxwell, Assistant Principal for 7th grade. You'll also hear from Dr. Cruice, our Assistant Principal for 8th grade. He's also our scheduling coordinator, so you may have had some exchanges with him as well. Mrs. Carol DeMarco, our counselor for 8th grade, is here with us. Mrs. Stephanie Roesener, our counselor for 7th grade, is with us today. Mrs. DiLiberto, our school nurse, is with us as well. And Mrs. Fran Laughlin, our school social worker that we share with Peirce and Henderson, is here to help support us today, as well as support your students throughout the year. To start our program off today, I'm going to review our agenda just so you have a snapshot of what we're going to cover. In terms of the nurse, we're going to cover attendance, student expectations, in terms of everyday attending courses, technology. Dr. Cruise is going to talk about the schedule, the supports that we have here for your student, what a communication is going to look like over the next, at least through the next almost 8 to 10 weeks, and then middle school athletics, which we have a little bit more direction on now. At this point, Mrs. DiLiberto is going to take over, and she's going to talk to you everything from her perspective on nursing and health.
Thanks, Mr. D'Antonio. I'm Dana DiLiberto. I'm the school nurse here at Peirce. I am here 5 days a week on site as long as your children are in the building from 8 until 3. I am here. I just want to talk and touch briefly on 7th grade requirements. The state requires a dental to be handed in, a dental visit, a recent dental visit, and immunizations. The 2 immunizations are usually given during your 6th grade physical. A lot of families already have them on file, but they're Menactra, and which is meningitis, and Tdap. So if your child receives them, please hand them in as soon as possible. They are due during the 7th grade year. The state also requires a dental visit. So if your child has seen the dentist within the last year, dating back to September 1st, 2019, please turn that in as well. You can always check PowerSchool, and it'll be listed. Medications, your child is able to carry medication. They're able to carry their EpiPen and their inhaler. Please make sure that I have parent permission and a doctor's order, same as last year, and they are permitted to carry at the middle school level. Please contact me with any questions or concerns. 8th grade does not need anything. If they are not a new student, they are a returning student, we have everything on file. If 8th grader is missing something, I will contact you personally, and you'll hear from me in the beginning of the year. Last but not least, injuries. If your child experiences an injury, a concussion, any kind of issue like that, please forward that information as well so that we can take care of them according to their doctor's orders. And illness. If your child has a temperature of 100 or over, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, anything to that extent, please keep your child home. And that's it. Please contact me. There are health forms under health services on the website, and all my contact information is on the Peirce website as well. Great.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
And when we're in this remote cyber setting, obviously the dismissal from school during the day isn't a factor, but we still may have students who get sick over this time period. We're going to talk a little bit about that when we get to our attendance portion, so that we're really clear in terms of how families should operate if their students should get sick or something pop up. So we will hit that just a little bit later when we get to attendance. Perfect cue, Remote 2.0 school attendance. In the Remote 2.0 learning, students are going to be required to access all of their classes. They're going to be meeting There's a set schedule that Dr. Cruise will talk about. Those students should be signing into Schoology into that scheduled periods class and then accessing that course. And that's how we will record our attendance. Our teachers will be taking that attendance, based on the participation and the things that are required for that course. And that's how we will track that attendance. If for some reason your student has like a technology issue or the internet goes down, at some point we need that student to connect with that teacher to make them aware of the situation and what is going on. So teachers will be entering that into their teacher portal and for individual classes. If your student is sick and they're not able to access their courses, you can do one of two things. If they're seeing a doctor, forward that doctor's note, even a picture that's sent to Mrs. Carnival. The email address is here. Send that to her, and that way she can enter that in the system for your student. That way the teachers can also see that they're out sick. If they're not going to see a doctor, they're sick, they're not feeling well, which happens too. We have parent notes that parents are able to provide. What we're being directed to tell folks is to write that parent note out and then take a picture of that or scan that note. And again, send that to our attendance secretary, Joanne Carnival. I still will accept all the vacation requests. Obviously a little bit different than when we were in the spring. Things are open, people are moving and traveling around. I anticipate that we are going to have some vacation requests. Won't be an issue at all. I ask that you try to get them to me a week ahead of time so I can approve them, and then we can communicate out to the teachers in terms of what's taking place. So that process is still in place. I would be the one who approves that for the building. And again, just send that request to me. If we could try to do a week ahead of time, that way we have time to communicate with teachers and get everything in place, that would be greatly appreciated. Student expectations, which kind of ties into the attendance as well. We're expecting our students to be able to follow their daily schedule. Again, Dr. Cruise is really going to break down for parents what that schedule looks like and how to navigate that. So daily schedule, they're following, they're attending each class, they're fully engaging with that lesson. Whatever the activities and assignments are, they are working to complete those and then doing their best to complete all assignments. One of the things we're working at Peirce here in this week is two things. One, really getting our Schoology delivery as organized and as clean as possible. So being very consistent from class to class in terms of how instructions are provided, how materials are provided in the virtual world. We've worked on that this week. We anticipate that we're going to be better in the spring than we were in the spring. And the other piece is in terms of feedback through the portal. We've asked teachers if an assignment is not turned in by the due date to code that as NHI, which is not handed in. That way we can alert parents consistently of assignments and things that weren't turned in and try to close that gap a little bit and help parents and students troubleshoot if maybe something they thought they turned in didn't go all the way through and the teacher did not receive that. Using that process will certainly help. We expect our students to communicate directly with our teachers when something gets in the way of them becoming and working with a class. So when students are navigating their day, there's a power outage, there's an internet issue, there's a computer problem, whatever that may be. Eventually, we've got to communicate to that teacher that they have not made it to that class. Or they're going to be marked absent. We've given the teachers the flexibility to work with students with that. And so, but we're going to need that from students to be able to reach out when in fact they haven't made a class. We're also going to ask students to follow all guidelines spelled out in the Westchester Area School District Code of Conduct, as well as our acceptable use policies in regards to digital citizenship. Everything that we're doing in terms of remote learning or cyber learning really falls in the same way that it would if we were doing it inside the building in terms of our regular learning. So we really ask students, parents to be mindful of that as we go through. We don't anticipate a ton of issues. You know, our students did an outstanding job in the spring. We want to make sure that we carry that over. Communication. Our main line here at Peirce, if you have a concern or an issue, is right here. I'm going to post this presentation for everybody to access and continue to access as we move forward. In terms of email, I put my email address as a sample. If you're trying to get a hold of someone and you're looking for that email address, the directory has been updated. It's on the Peirce website. This link would certainly take you there to be able to get parents to that directory. But the structure on that email address looks very similar to this. It's first initial and then last name. You've got some of our faculty and staff, there are multiple people with the same first initial and last name. So you may have to, you know, refer to the directory to be able to get it. But if not, most of them are pretty sync in the sense that first initial, last name, and then the rest of the piece. We are going to continue with our Peirce Pride Weekly with our newsletter that'll come out. Normally that comes out on Sunday evenings or Monday mornings. And it has all the upcoming events for the next week or 2 weeks. You will continue to see that once we get up and running for sure. We'll be pretty consistent with that. And the last piece of communication that you can expect from us is through our Twitter account. And so if you have a Twitter account, please follow at Peirce Pride. We, we'll post pictures and assignments. We'll post, frequent news that's coming along at Peirce to try to keep everybody in the loop. So you have all the information that you need in order to have a successful year. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Cruice, and he's going to speak about our 2.0 schedule, which is going to be different from our cyber schedule. He's going to talk about the advisory period and professional and small group, which you're seeing when those things are being communicated. Dr. Cruice, you're on.
All right. Thank you, Mr. D'Antonio. Hello, Peirce families. Like Mr. D'Antonio said, so I'm going to take a few minutes just to go over our remote 2.0. As most of you know, last spring, we kind of had a practice run with this. It was forced on us last minute, so we did the best that we could. The good news is we had a trial run, and then we had all summer to prepare and do some professional development. So we're going to be in much better shape this fall with our remote 2.0 schedule. So as most of you know, our Peirce schedule runs on a 6-day cycle. With our remote 2.0 schedule, that 6-day cycle is going to be spread out over the course of 12 days. So as you can see from the screen here, what would typically be 1 day's worth of classes would be spread out over 2 days. So for example, if we're looking at the 7th grade slide, the schedule that's on the screen there, you can see all 12 days of our schedule is spread out. So the first day, so for example, the first day of school, students would have their morning classes for day 1. So for example, for 7th grade, I would have period 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. In 7th grade, period 3 and 4 are their unified arts classes. Okay, so they'll have both their unified arts classes on the AM days. So on day 1 AM, and then that skips every other day. The reason for it is we have a block schedule here. So although classes aren't going to be meeting every day, the class schedule, the periods are longer. So it's more of a block time. So I have day 1 are my morning classes. Then the next day will still be day 1, but it'll be my afternoon classes. That's where I have classes 6, 7, and 8 that are built in. You'll also see sometimes that is built in there that you may not be familiar with. For example, the beginning of each day, you see 8 to 8:45 is listed as professional. That's really for the teachers' purposes. During that time is primarily when teachers are going to be holding meetings and different things. Occasionally, they may be meetings with parents or meetings among the teachers and so forth. So that professional time is really for the teachers. So the students really don't need to worry about that time slot. Their day, the student day, really starts at 8:45. And you'll notice for 7th grade, so day 1 AM, I have period 1. Well, day 1 PM and day 2 PM and day 3 PM on the PM days, they start the day with advisory. So advisory is something new this year that we're instituting. We're kind of taking advantage of this opportunity to implement something we've been wanting to do anyway, which is to build in this advisory period. Okay, so this advisory period is where students are going to be responsible for checking into their advisory every day. their advisory is going to be with their homeroom. So their homeroom teacher is going to be assigned to be their mentor, so to speak, in the building, another adult in the building that those students can connect with. And every day, so I would check in, into my advisory period, and the teacher of that advisory period is going to start making connections with the students, building those relationships with the students. And it's really going to be an opportunity also for them to work a little bit with these students on some of their executive functioning skills, their organization, checking. It's going to be time that students can check on their grades, check on their missing work, even have time built in there to do some makeup work during that time. So it's really going to be a nice opportunity to both connect with an adult and also work on some of those skills and trying to stay organized and communicating that with you at home with the parents. So that's going to be a huge benefit for our students this year. The other pieces there that you see small group is also built in every day, and that's right before the lunch period. And small group is not a time that students have to check in every day. Small group is really a time where the teachers would be pulling different kids in at that time to work with. So if I'm a math teacher and I have some kids that I want to remediate a certain skill with, I would send that invite to those students, and then they would know to come work with me during that time. So really students would be invited to work with their teachers that time. And then you'll notice that lunch period, that's the same across the board for all 3 grades, is when they have that lunch period. So basically it's spread out. It gives them an opportunity to really delve into their material a little bit better, while also having the students only focus on half of their classes each day. And then 8th grade, you can see it looks a little bit different. It's the same idea. The only thing that's really different are the periods in which they have their unified arts. So for example, 8th grade has their unified arts classes 1st and 2nd period. So you can see they have that on day 1 a.m., day 2 a.m., day 3 a.m. on those AM days. And then they have on those AM days, they'll have their period 3 and 4 after that. So you see how it alternates AM, PM, morning classes, afternoon classes. Their advisory time is built in just like 7th grade, that small group time, and everything else is pretty much the same. So if you have any questions, I know it looks like it could probably seem confusing at this point, but just like anything else, please feel free to reach out to any one of us that are here today, or just contact the office, and we're happy to answer any questions. But once we start rolling through this schedule a little bit, it will go very smoothly. I think that's all I have for that, Mr. D'Antonio.
Thank you. I'm going to stop screen share on the schedule and switch back to our presentation. Okay, at this point, I'd like to introduce our 2 counselors for 8th grade, Mrs. Carol DeMarco, and for 7th grade, Mrs. Roesener.
Hello, sorry. I'm Mrs. Roesener. I was a 6th grade counselor last year, and I'll stay with the 6th grade class and continue with 7th grade. So if I have new 7th graders, welcome to Peirce Middle School, and I'll be your counselor. My contact information is there. I will also have a Schoology page for our grade, so we'll be able to connect there. You can send me a message, and we'll be posting fun stuff and just trying to connect with all of you as a class the best that we can.
And I am Carol DeMarco, Mrs. DeMarco. I have had your students for 2 years now. This is our 3rd year together. If you're new to the building, I am the 8th grade counselor. As Mrs. Roesener said, we are here to help in any way we can with your students. We can help with academic problems or situations, social issues, or if anything is going on in your family that's affecting your student schoolwork, please reach out for our help. That is when we're here in brick and mortar, if we're here in a hybrid model, or during remote learning, we are still available. One of the things you'll see, all of the counselors are going to have a site called Calendly that we're going to be using so that you can schedule appointments with us. You can also reach out by email, and we will set up an appointment with you. So please reach out early and often. I often tell the kids, don't suffer in silence. I don't want you to suffer in silence either. We can help you, and if we don't know the answer, we'll get it. And if we're not the right person, we'll direct you to the person who is. There is also going to be a website that the counseling department has put together district-wide that will be available on the Peirce website, and also will be posted on our signatures, our email signatures, so that you can access this counseling website that we've put together. It has a lot of resources for you about what the counselors do, and also outside resources that you can connect with in case your child is having any issues that you would like to pursue outside counseling with. So just make sure, you know, you're reaching out to us. If it's an academic problem and you want to go through your teacher first, that's fine. But if it's anything else, or even if you want to talk to us about academics, please reach out to Mrs. Roesener and myself. I would field all the 8th grade questions, and she would field the 7th grade ones. We are here to help you and help you get through this remote experience, and we're going to have a great year. Thank you.
Just
Thank
to
you.
add, oh, sorry, just to add,
Okay.
just one of the things that we always try to tell parents also is this is an exciting time, but also obviously being at remote learning, it can cause some anxiety for your child. Just everyone remember to take a deep breath, remember to relax, remember that there are people here to help you. There's resources we can connect you with. You know, teachers are going to be making great connections with your children, as we are as well. And it can be an enjoyable time. So take that deep breath, remember to relax, try to lower that anxiety for your child as well, even if we are all feeling a little, you know, not at ease right now. So, but we are here and we'll get through this together. Exactly. Exactly.
Well, thank you both. We really appreciate your words and all the support you provide for our students. At this point, we're going to turn the program over to Mrs. Fran Laughlin, and she's our school social worker.
Thank you, Mr. D'Antonio. I'm Fran Laughlin, and I work part-time at Peirce Middle School and also at Henderson High School. I'm an additional support person for your student and family, and I just want to highlight a few of the responsibilities that I have. One of the things that I do is oversee the National School Lunch Program. And for those that may not be familiar with this is a government-sponsored program based on income to provide free and reduced breakfast and lunch for students that qualify. And I know in the past that some people income may have been reduced recently. So even though you may not have qualified in the past, you may qualify now. So it would be worth looking at those guidelines and the application. It's located on the Peirce website under the tab for parents. And then you go to food services and then National School Lunch Program. And that's what the application is, but there's also lots of other good information there too that you might want to take a look at. I also assist families applying for medical assistance for their children, particularly if their child has been diagnosed with a disability. Those students automatically qualify, but you still have to complete an application. So I'm very happy to talk to you about the process or help complete the application or answer any questions that you may have about that. Attendance is another area that I monitor. And it's really important that your child attends school every day, even during remote learning. And if you find that your child's having some attendance issues or not wanting to participate, please give me a call so we can talk about what are some of the obstacles that he or she may be having, and that we could work on a plan to overcome that so that they could be attending every day. Some families have needs that are outside of the school arena, and I'm able to assist with providing community resources, particularly those that would involve mental health issues, financial issues, or just family issues. So my email is up on the slide, and feel free to reach out to me with any questions or comments or concerns that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Fran. At this point, we're going to introduce Dr. Judy Maxwell, who will share a little bit about technology, Schoology, and the parent portal. Dr. Maxwell, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Thank you, Mr. D'Antonio. Good afternoon, parents. Let's talk about the technology in Schoology. So the first thing we want to talk about is we're in a technology age. We're all virtual. Computer issues, which you're going to have. If you're having a computer issue, we're going to ask you to contact the help desk via email. And as you do that, to copy your guidance counselor on that email as well. So they're aware that your child is having issues with their computer and they can help you to access that information as well. So again, you're going to email helpdesk@wcasd.net and as well to copy your guidance counselor on whatever computer issues you're having. A reminder is that computers are supposed to be used for schoolwork and to communicate with teachers. It is important that your child does not use the computer to add games on or to use it and access an inappropriate website. It is a district computer. We do get a filter. It is filtered daily. And if your child accesses a website or uses it inappropriately, we will get notified that this is occurring and will contact you, the parent and the child, just to kind of find out what's going on. So we really do ask that it's used for schoolwork and to communicate with teachers. Parent Portal, it is where you're going to manage your child's information. The big thing is, at some point later this week, you're going to get, if you go on a Parent Portal, you're going to see something that says back to school information, and it's a link. You're going to go on that link and you're going to update email addresses. You're going to update phone numbers. You're also going to be able to go in and update emergency contacts. Please, if you get a chance, get on that website and update all the information that you can update on that site. Parent Portal also will get you into Schoology. So many of you would say, well, how do I access Schoology? There is also a link on Parent Portal that will allow you to access Schoology as well. From that link, you'll be able to create your Schoology information and get in there. Parent Portal will give you access to your child's grades, report cards. You're gonna also be able to see attendance, okay? It will also tell you stuff that's not handed in or what's handed in. So you can go into specific teachers and you're gonna be able to go in and see, did your child complete this? What else is still outstanding? And then it moves you into Schoology. Schoology is gonna be the platform that your child uses. On that platform, you're going to be able to see the students' classes, what the expectations are in that classes. Teachers are going to be posting on that. Students it's going to be communicating with teachers back and forth on that. There's just going to be so much more you can also look at that's different than what you can see on Parent Portal. If you have any other further questions regarding technology, Schoology, and Parent Portal, you can reach out to me or you can reach out to your guidance counselors. Thank you. Good luck for 2021 school year.
Thank you, Dr. Maxwell.
You're welcome.
So I've had a number of parents ask about our PIAA sports and our clubs here at Peirce. And we've been following the guidelines of the PIAA, the governor, as well as the Chester County Health Department. And right now, we believe that we're going to be able to move forward in a modified way with our sports for 7th and 8th grade. We anticipate being able to communicate the week of September 8th and then moving forward, getting started the week of September 14th or the 21st. We're working through all the details. Some of the things that we have some clarity on in terms of student physicals, whatever it looks like, whether it be sort of in-house or just skill-based and conditioning, we would need to have student physicals, the PIAA physical completed and turned in through Family ID. For our folks who have done that already, thank you for doing that. If you have not done that, to start the process, we would want to do that. We do have our PIAA physical form located on our website. And so students would be required to have that before getting started. We're going to, as we start to communicate here, we'll send out the Family ID information again. We sent it out in the springtime. We'll send it out again just so folks have it and know the steps to take to be able to get registered. In terms of our clubs and activities, we still plan to run as many of our clubs and activities as we can, and either in person or virtually. And that is something that as this week starts to go through, we're going to meet with our teachers identify the clubs and activities that they have interest in running or have run in the past, and then developing our plan for moving forward with those. We recognize the importance of the connection, of the outlet, and just the social piece that goes along with being involved in our sports and our clubs, and the benefit that they bring for students. And we're going to figure out every way we can to run things as we normally would. Again, the sports piece, I feel like it's going to look a lot different than what we've done in the past. But I do feel like we're going to be able to move forward in a modified way and provide some experience for our students. So hold tight on that. If you want to start to move forward with the family ID and getting that physical, I think that would be a great move at this point. And then more communication will follow, particularly the week of September 8th. You know, just to wrap up and summarize, there are so many caring people here that are just eager and begging to work with your students and will help out in any way. Our goal is that your student has a great experience, that this remote or cyber experience that they're going through is as best can be expected. We've been working hard from an instructional standpoint. We've worked hard in terms of Schoology and making that a little bit easier to navigate for students and parents. We're trying to close that loop in that parent portal so that everybody has more clarity. So from that standpoint, we are ready to launch on Monday morning. You know, students will be able to get into Schoology and then get their day started, following that schedule and moving on as we would, except in a virtual format. If you have any questions or anything that you need help with, I want you to reach out, not just to the folks that are on our Zoom video here, but anybody at our building. We are eager and willing, and we'll certainly jump in a moment and just right away. So thank you again. Best of luck to the start of the school year. 7th and 8th grade, we've already communicated our textbook pickup nights are going to be September 1st and 2nd. So hopefully that'll be the next time where we have an opportunity to meet with you. So thank you so much. Take care and best of luck.